The Amazon rainforest. A Brazilian government expedition makes first contact with the Carubo people. An invasion of loggers and settlers has made it increasingly dangerous for them to continue living in isolation on their ancestral lands. The Carubo have been given no choice in this contact, yet through it their world is about to change forever. Over 100 tribes around the world, like the Carubo, choose to reject contact with outsiders. For them, the outside world has brought only violence, murder, disease, and exploitation. Uncontacted Indians, like the Ayoreo in Paraguay, are forced to abandon their houses and possessions time and time again as bulldozers invade their lands. Ojai was forced out of his forest home for the first time just 3 years ago.
I'm very worried about this destruction, because we don't know exactly where the people still in the forest are living. I have a sister among them. This is why we don't want the white people to destroy more of the forest with their bulldozers.
Time and again, when a tribe is first contacted, many of them die from diseases they have never known before. Isolated tribal people have no immunity to ordinary Western diseases like flu, chickenpox, or even the common cold. Sometimes the tribe is completely wiped out. In Peru, illegal mahogany loggers have brought disease and violence to many uncontacted tribes. Jorge, a Muranawa man, lost his eye when he was shot by loggers during first contact.
When the loggers made contact with us, we came out of the jungle. That was when the disease came, although we didn't know what a cold was then. Half of us died. My aunt died, my nephew died, half of my people died.
These tragedies are not inevitable. Recognizing and protecting tribal people's lands gives them the time and space to make their own choices about how they interact with the world around them, and puts them in control of their own lives. Survival is campaigning to make this a reality. The vast Amazon basin stretches more than 6,000 kilometers from the Atlantic Ocean in the east to the foothills of the Andes in the west. It is home to more than 60 uncontacted tribes. The Awa of eastern Brazil are a nomadic people who abandoned their villages and gardens 200 years ago after attacks by Brazilian settlers. Some Awa have been recently contacted by the Brazilian government. Other groups live in the forest with no contact with outsiders. A railway now cuts through the Awa's territory, bringing in miners, ranchers and settlers, and with them violence and disease. Carapiru, an Awa man, survived a massacre by ranchers.
At the time of the massacre, I was the only survivor of the family. I hid in the forest and escaped from the white people. They killed my mother, my brothers and sisters, and my wife. I spent a long time in the forest, hungry and being chased by ranchers. I was always running away, on my own. I hope when my daughter grows up, she won't have any of the difficulties I've had. I hope everything will be better for her. I hope it won't be like in my time.
On the western flank of Brazil lies the Javari Valley, a vast virgin rainforest home to more uncontacted Indian tribes than anywhere else in the world. The uncontacted people share the valley with recently contacted tribes, including the Métis.
Before we were frightened of the whites. We knew that they wanted to kill us. So whenever they appeared, we would run off into the forest. We'd abandon the village and disappear off into the jungle. Later on, we'd arrive at the Indian Bureau post, and there we'd catch diseases. We'd go off into the forest having caught the illnesses. We weren't used to those illnesses. Then we'd bathe in the river, lie by the side of our fires, and before we knew it, we'd all caught pneumonia. Lots of us died.
The shock of their first contact was so great that the Métis stopped practicing their religious ceremonies for years. and their women stopped giving birth.